Vote for Amaya Papaya. I read in nearly 20 texts from my phone, women forming an army, and we were getting prepared to invade Love Island, free our queen, and burn at the stake the mean girls and malicious men that had overtaken this season to turn it into a drab, bootleg version of Survivor. Op-ed after op-ed described this season as a toxic symbol of modern dating culture, particularly for women. The men were manipulative, cold, self-aggrandizing, uncharming, and gave effort for what they never gave enough effort for how much they demanded. Hence, by nature, they hated Amaya's genuine. "Shut the F up," said Anna in a burst of rage, rare for her. "Disgusting," she said, pointing at Ace. Watching Love Island this season was a giant debate between eating from your popcorn bag or turning it into a makeshift nausea bag. The men of this season were clearly a batch of influencers looking for 100K, more than just love. And what was worse, though they were charming and they thought they were charming and smart, not one episode went without them either plotting or mansplaining, and it killed the vibe. It really did. This was a show for women, and for them to feed their false images of romance and fantasy. And this season got a little too real. All of them need to leave. There are like 50 people on the island right now. Get the boats, get the planes, get the exits, okay? Josie barked. The season was closer to its ending, and still no genuine connections as much as genuine acts. Just give Amaya the money already, we all agreed. Can this show be a season of just voting for who you want to be a millionaire? Amaya had become a symbol of a difficulty for a lot of women in trying to find true love. If anything, she embodied everything men claimed they wanted: beautiful, attentive, smart, and self-sufficient. She had a big enough heart to take care of herself and the ones she loved. But enough character to assure she never stopped loving herself. It was powerful to watch, but draining, because all the men hated her. Thanks, Ace. Men do not want love, period, said Anna. They just want money and vag. And you know what? They deserve neither. After ending her own 7-year relationship with a D-bag, Anna was ready to call out any asshole that tried to fill her with their poop. Ooh, that was such a gross analogy. Let's continue. "Amen," said the group of women whom had all felt inadvertently triggered and overthinking from a season that was meant to be mindless. It was too real. And Amaya's experience was the realest of all. "Why do they want to make her cry and learn so badly?" I said, squinting my eyes as if I could read the logic in front of me. "How is this kid from Lizzie McGuire so boring and bitchy? Can you be both? Can you be basic and judgmental?" Some will say that's what I am right now. "The more basic, the more judgmental," replied Josie. "The less you offer, the more you want, I tell you." "You think it's because they are all broke?" I asked. "Maybe it's because of that. They're all broke and broken." "Men, when they are broke, they are broken," I repeated. "Look at them. All these women think they are loved, and I swear Taylor would sleep with Nick before he does Olandria," I declared with my PhD in psychology of the School of Bravo. It was palpable that the men wanted money and did not mind the ego boost these women gave them while they decided who they could couple up with. You're probably right. Now that men are not getting paid, they are too mad to want love. The problem is we never have money, so we might as well have love, Josie backed. We never had either, Anna said, to which all the women replied, "Amen." All right, let's heal. Let's discuss. I think that Love Island this season is so funny because I think it embodies everything wrong with the world. In a show that's supposed to embody everything that is fantastical about the world, or rather, it's coming off of a season 6, that was just chef's kiss, any reality show producer's dream. Great cast, fun, funny, really good people trying to find love. It felt like even too good for Love Island, because Love Island could be a little toxic and it could be a little like, like fighting. But there's a groundedness to it that I think this season, and I particularly blame Ace because I think him and Chelly led on this very weird kind of, everybody needs to explore, everybody needs to explore, which is why people have started these rumors that they were probably in a relationship beforehand. And their strategy, which makes sense with their behavior, it was kind of, every connection disrupted and say it's not explorative enough or giving others chance. And then, if we're the only couple, we're in. And I mean, it's a good strategy. The problem is it's not Survivor. And it's a show that rides on how much the public likes you. And they were manipulative and they were mean. And I really, more so Ace, and I say that because I would follow him on TikTok. And I think that he had the typical influencer's downfall in the sense of, on TikTok, he was, teaching children with Down syndrome how to dance and dancing with Palestinians. And he was really funny. But I think he forgot we weren't just watching him, we were watching them. And he made a platform that gave people that were erased or unknown or not visible enough for just their plain humanity. People want to dance. Even in a wheelchair, people want to dance. People want to listen to music. Even deaf people can hear the frequency, the vibe, or rather feel it in terms of music. Like, people are alive. And just because you think they're not doesn't mean they are not. And there was something really refreshing and cool about somebody giving spaces to people that don't have space and making that space fun. Like, it doesn't have to get deep. Let's all Dougie. And I think the assumption was that guy is a good guy. And then he came on Love Island and I was like, nope, no, he's not. Actually, he's a narcissist. He's a douchebag. And what's wild is here's a man who's creating a space for people that are unseen, for people that aren't given enough respect to their feelings. And he calls out the one woman who is brave enough and open enough and probably just can't help herself, who's always like heart on my sleeve. Like, it was totally a clash of image. And it's something that I've noticed with my father. If there's one thing narcissists know how to do is spot patterns, or rather spot everybody's patterns but their own. And it was something that Austin had mentioned. Like, he really did turn the villa of guys against Amaya, which is why she struggled so much to find a couple. Like, he really made it like she's just this emotional, crazy bitch that everybody should stay away from. And the problem is Ace plants the seed, but why did all those men water it? And I think it's because this season, compared to others, really felt like Influencer Island. And it felt like a season where everybody was as focused on the 100K as they were, and even more so than they were finding a love connection. And listen, I'm not going to blame anybody for not focusing on the money. But if to get the money, you have to get a genuine connection, make one. And that it just wasn't about that this season. And I think it turned off a lot of women who watched the show for that fantasy, for that romance, for that feeling that love and money can actually meet in Fiji. And he was just on her, that she's so emotionless, she's crying all the time, like really hammering and just completely erasing. But I admit, Maya can sometimes just cry. Her and Huda had these breakdowns. So sometimes I'm like, ladies, don't give them 2 cents. Like, don't even give your enemies and these mean girls and these malicious men, don't even give them a tear. They don't deserve a penny. But they, people have feelings and you have the right to express them. No shame in crying. I have cried and fought. He kind of reminds me of a lot of the narcissists of my own life and my dad, who had, put the harm in charm, this over-eagerness to look funny and fun and lighthearted while plotting, while manipulating, while holding meetings to tell everybody how to date, while you're not. Like this weird hypocrisy that I really do believe him when he says, I wish America would give me constructive criticism. Because I believe he doesn't see it. And I think that's what happened with Sierra as well. I think these people came off as fake. And it makes sense they're influencers. They're just trying to show a layer of themselves and act like that one layer. I'm just the pretty girl trying brands. I'm just the cool guy teaching everybody to dance. They act like, and maybe it's part of branding because it's something that I'm trying to learn myself. They act like that one layer is their whole personality. And it's something that I saw with La Casa de los Famosos, temporada dos. Something that happened was this kind of reality shows, particularly like Love Island, where it's like 24/7 video and you're not the editor, can be really dangerous for influencers because you're not involved in your edit. There's no 300 takes. And you are a human being and you are going to crack. There's going to be a moment when the camera catches that you don't smile all the time. There is going to be a moment where the camera catches, like what happened with Sierra versus Huda, where it's just the camera kind of catches, oh, she was a little malicious towards her. And then you add on that when the internet hates you, they will hunt for every reason to. And I don't think those two in particular, because if you look at their TikToks before, or if you looked up at their TikToks and their Instagrams before Love Island, I don't think they were ready or have the mental health to handle a world that hates them, to handle a world that doesn't like them, to handle a world that doesn't want them to win at anything. I find it interesting that Taylor claimed that he was clear to Alandria, I don't like you. Because women, at least in the first few episodes, were like, no, you weren't. No, you weren't. If you don't like somebody, leave them alone. Women do it. If we don't like you, we just don't come. We say no. Or we do the weird, I have a boyfriend. You know, like, we're going to make sure that doesn't happen with you. And men don't do that. And I think it's because women are trained to be the ego boost of men, even as small of a reason as for a safety precaution. And men take that as, well, let me get an ego boost until I get self-esteem. Use women to give me an ego boost until I find the wife that will be my self-confidence. Like, it's just this kind of looking outside of you to supply what should be within. And I think that something I have mentioned before. I think women isolate from dating when we need to heal, while men use dating to heal. You know, meeting a lot of women. Oh, you're gorgeous, you're cool, you're interesting, you're so funny, let me fake laugh. And this island felt like the Lord of the Flies version of Bumble. Like, it was just really superficial conversations that everybody acted was deep. I think TJ at one point, didn't he choose Vanna because they both went to Chicago? I was like, really? A flight in common? Is this love? You know, like, it was wild. And I think all that fakery only made people, it was like we needed water in a desert. And Amaya was it. Because I was laughing with my friend. I don't even know if Amaya's that good or everybody was so trash. I just know I ride for her. Like, my girl is getting the money.